So hungry. I need to find something to eat.
Alright, Lara. You won't always have some fancy gadget to tell you where you are. If you can learn to read the land and the stars, you'll always be able to find your way home.
This is Ludonarrative Dissonance. Ludonarrative Dissonance is an issue where the gameplay contradicts the story that the game is trying to tell, and this occurs in a lot of games. For example, in the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot, the main character Lara Croft spends a full minute feeling bad about killing a deer, and instantly afterwards you can buy a skill to earn extra rewards when looting animal corpses. This sort of dissonance can be found everywhere when it comes to video games, and the reason why it's a problem is because it creates a disconnect between you, the player, and the characters in the story. If what you are experiencing contrasts the way that they are feeling, suddenly that makes them look like hypocrites. And that detachment means you care less about the story that's being told.
It's something to pry this open.
This traditional no mask represents a hateful woman in the guise of a demon.
Another infamous example is Grand Theft Auto 4, where Nico repeatedly mentions how he moved to America to escape his life of crime.
War is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other.
But in the gameplay, well... GTA 5 and Watch Dogs also share this issue, with Watch Dogs' vigilante justice excuse feeling especially cheap. So, why does this issue crop up so much? Probably due to the, well, gamey nature of games. Traditionally, the gameplay was created first before story was applied to it, and that means that if the story contrasts the game itself, well, it's too late to change it even if you wanted to. This issue also works the other way, where a developer decides on a story before even drafting up gameplay ideas. A good example of the former is Fallout 4. The opening attempts to make you sympathize with the main character, who's trying to find his son who was taken away from him. But if you watch anybody play the game, they'll probably be doing tons of side missions that have absolutely no bearing on this plot element. That's because the game is designed to be incredibly open and have tons of quests with their own self-contained stories, so any reasonable player would want to experience those. The problem is, it takes away from the central plot of finding your son as soon as you can, so most people stop caring about it. This is an example of the developers trying to tell a story that doesn't suit the way Fallout games have traditionally been set up. This issue is also present in a lot of RPGs that supposedly have time-sensitive tasks, which don't seem to matter when you're busy collecting 100 mushrooms. Despite its prevalence in modern games, it isn't impossible to avoid ludonarrative dissonance, and some games manage to strike a great consistency between its gameplay and its story. Take, for example, the frantic border control of Papers, Please, which gives you strict guidelines, tough decisions, and a lack of money. When you have to rush people through to make enough money to feed your family, but in order to do so you have to split up husband and wife, you get exactly the message that the developers were trying to make. Games like Payday 2 also avoid the issue of characters having unconvincing motives by making you the villain. Why are you robbing a bank? Because you want money. It really doesn't get much simpler than that. Sleeping Dogs is an open-world Grand Theft Auto style game that manages to avoid ludonarrative dissonance very effectively. You're an undercover cop in a Hong Kong triad, and throughout the game you have a police experience bar and a triad experience bar. They aren't necessary to complete the game, but being rewarded for bringing down a triad member, whilst simultaneously being punished for collateral damage, is one of the many ways the game touches upon the struggle that the main character Wei Shen has due to his split allegiances.
He's a criminal, Wei. You're a cop. I hate to be a broken record, but it sounds like you're getting attached.
I'm not getting attached. I'm not a fucking idiot, okay? He's part of my cover. He brought me in. He's the one who vouched for me.
And now you're so high up, you don't need him.
Ludonarrative dissonance has become somewhat of a joke in recent years, because for a long time it was incredibly overused. any old journalism pundit who wanted to sound fancy used it because it's a big, intimidating phrase. This means that people are reluctant to talk about it, as they don't want that same reputation, which is a shame. There's a serious argument to be made against ludonarrative dissonance, and whilst it doesn't ruin a game, it does stop a good game from becoming a great one.